President Biden's pick to head the Department of Veterans Affairs is on the verge of confirmation after the Senate committee in charge voted to advance Denis McDonough's nomination yesterday. One of the challenges the presumptive secretary will face includes widespread racism, which has troubled the department for decades. A survey conducted in August by the VA union found that 3/4 of employees say that they've encountered racially charged actions in the workplace. A recent New York Times opinion piece chronicled the issues not only under the Trump administration, but also the history of discrimination at the VA. And Jasper Craven is the reporter behind that piece. So, Jasper, thank you so much for joining us. This is your thing. This is your area that you cover. Can you just help us understand sort of the breadth of the problem here at the VA? Because we're talking, to me, I see it as sort of there's two tracks here. There's racism as it affects employees of the VA, and then racism as it affects patients of the VA. Break it down for us.
Well, for a long time, really since the Department of Veterans Affairs was founded, Black veterans have been disproportionately shut out of benefits. I mean, the VA is really sort of the most progressive agency in government in that it provides free health care, it provides free college through the GI Bill, it provides home loans, it provides unemployment insurance. And yet, even though Blacks have long fought for this country, dating back to the Civil War, I mean, Blacks were really critical in winning the Civil War. They have been shut out of these benefits disproportionately, and so they have not been able to access some of these critical economic tools to move up and to succeed in this country.
And then there are employees, and you sort of chronicle that in your article, employees who say that they've been the victims of discrimination, that they've found it difficult to get promotions or found themselves often overlooked, that they've heard talk in the hallways that was just outright overtly racism. That's another problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, a third of VA employees are veterans of color themselves. I've spoken now to VA employees across the country, and this is not, you know, confined to any one facility, any one region of the country. But there are a series of shocking anecdotes of VA employees of color being referred to as monkeys, as Aunt Jemima. There was a Black veteran and VA employee in Massachusetts who, after recently blowing the whistle on some malfeasance, found a noose at his desk and a note that says, "Go home or die." So these are pretty shocking incidents. And then there's sort of the more systemic problem, you know, pretty solid survey data and hiring and promotion data that shows that Black employees are, you know, again, not moving up. They're not moving into management positions. They're being targeted for firings and demotions more than white employees. And so, you know, overall, the system really is living in another age, and Trump really sort of inflamed that issue.
Okay, let us get into that, because the sort of an overhaul of Veterans Affairs was one area that former President Trump sort of checkmarked off his list as a success. You know, we talked, as in the introduction, we talked about this survey that was done in August and how it revealed how so many employees and patients felt that they had witnessed or experienced, you know, racism within the VA. And then shortly after the results come out, the president decides to stop all racial sensitivity training, calling it sort of an indoctrination of government workers. Now, that was across the board, but it certainly must have had an impact when it came to Veterans Affairs. But can you talk about sort of the fallout of the Trump administration? Did they make things better or worse, or do anything at all to help this particular issue?
I would say that more than in any other agency, the Trump officials really inflamed the issue. I mean, this is pretty blatant stuff. The former head of the VA, a man named Robert Wilkie, is a former member of a neo-Confederate group called the Sons of Confederate Veterans. He's a former staffer for segregationist Senator Jesse Helms, one of his deputies, had in his VA office a painting of the first Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. So when you have a leadership group like that, you're not going to see progressive, active engagement with this issue. And as you noted, yes, the Trump administration kneecapped equal opportunity trainings across government, but there were very specific acts here that crack down on Black employees. I mean, Black employees in the VA often are in lower level but critical jobs like housekeepers, nurses. Trump passed executive orders to make it easier to fire those people, and thousands of them were fired or demoted or suspended. There were diversity trainings that some officials tried to call inside the VA to deal with these issues that were then canceled inexplicably. And so I think that, Trump really did a number on the department. Certainly these issues existed before him, but, what I've heard from staff across the country is just that they are really feeling dejected and have lost faith in this agency they once joined in, an effort to help those who've served.
And you pointed this out a little bit earlier, that it wasn't ushered in with the Trump administration. This is an ongoing problem with the VA since essentially the birth of the VA, right? Whether it's housing discrimination, as you point out, various services. There's an example in your article where one veteran is talking about, that he has seen, white veterans get approved for PTSD when they've never seen any sort of actual military action, versus Black veterans, appealing for some sort of coverage for their mental health issues and not being approved for it. It runs deep. So then the question is, how do you correct this? We've got a new administration. Where do we go from here? What do you see as kind of the big shifts that need to happen to really make the VA a service that supports the men and women who have risked their lives for our country?
Absolutely. Well, I think it starts with leadership. And it will be very interesting to see what Denis McDonough does if he's confirmed, which I believe will happen. I mean, Robert Wilkie, Trump's VA secretary, had a large leadership team that was virtually all white. Denis McDonough needs to change that. Denis McDonough needs to bring in people who look like the military. I mean, the military is very quickly diversifying, and they need to be welcomed into the department. And really what needs to happen is the department needs to do a deep analysis of how it provides benefits, on how it provides health care. It needs to look at whether there are significant racial health disparities. And once it identifies those problems, it needs to fix them. It needs to, set up programs, revive trainings that Trump got rid of, and really try and, ensure that the VA becomes this vital economic and health tool for those who've served.
Spot on. Jasper Craven, great talking to you. Great article. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.